Hey, all you cinema buffs out there, Nate and Dennis here, bringing you our review of Death Note, which is now streaming on Netflix.
That's right. Death Note is based on the old Japanese manga, which once was an anime. But neither Nate or myself have seen the anime or read the manga, so we're judging this just as the movie that was presented to us with this new interpretation that has been directed by Adam Wingard. He did the Blair Witch,
the
most recent one.
Yeah, which I liked.
Yeah, and there's definitely some horror elements to this. But Nate, let's start off with like the premise. What did you think of this premise of the movie?
The premise is actually what I enjoyed the most about it. Once again, never seen any of the source material, don't know anything about this, but so I felt like the premise was a little bit misleading with what it ended up being as a movie. I really enjoyed the start of this. I enjoyed the discovery of the book. I really enjoyed the style of it in general, and Willem Dafoe's character as well. Like, it all started as a personal horror movie to me.
Yeah, and for those of you who aren't familiar with this, this tells the story of this kid who finds this notebook that tells him if he writes someone's name in it, this person will die. And so as this kid, he starts to kill people with this notebook, and he teams up with this girl who he eventually falls in love with. Mm-hmm. And they decide to not use this power of this book for personal gain. They instead decide to kill all the criminals and terrorists and people who are getting away with terrible things.
Yeah, it's like a faceless vigilante kind of across the world.
Right. And it does this thing too where they also get to choose how the people die.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of this movie, I was kind of geared up for it because there are some cool deaths.
Yeah, there is.
I thought this was going to be like a new kind of Final Destination where the appeal of this movie is like all the cool, gruesome ways that they can die.
Yeah.
But they started with it and just kind of tapered off then.
Yeah, and I think that's an ongoing theme of this movie that I really didn't enjoy, is that a lot of things just sort of taper off. Where I'm just like, man, this is starting off so strong and really cool, and it's because it didn't commit to what it was at the beginning, where these characters, it started off really hokey and campy a little bit. I almost was reminded of like a 90s movie, like something like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or
right.
Even the style of it, it was cool transitions. I was like, I'm getting into this, cool. And then it starts to take itself a little too seriously, which started to cut all the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, I feel like this movie was the first act of one movie, the second act of another movie, and the third act of a completely different movie.
Yeah.
The first movie, like I said, the first act kind of felt like, Final Destination, like this kind of gruesome horror death movie.
Yeah, personal, down home kind of thing, yeah.
And then they just kind of breeze through how they kill all these people and are help solving all these problems. And then it becomes like a mystery movie, a detective movie.
Yeah.
Where this, he's not really a government agent. He's kind of independent detective, but he's hunting down whoever's behind all these deaths because he thinks it's a person. They kind of create this persona that's a god of death, and that's why all these bad people are dying.
Yeah.
But this detective is convinced that's a person. He searches for him. And then you get into the third act, and it's just like, your generic horror thriller ending. Yeah, huge set piece, big disaster.
Yeah.
But one thing that I can't say I really enjoyed about this movie was the acting. Outside of Willem Dafoe, it's just the acting was kind of one note, and you didn't really root for the characters.
No. There's a lot of problems that I have with the acting, especially the lead character. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that this guy is a bad actor. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this was miscasted with him in it. Him being okay with people dying in front of him is really weird. And, everything just seems forgiven to him. I don't know. I really didn't like how he reacted to a lot of things. And he's writing some pretty effed up things in this book for things to happen to people, and he has no remorse whatsoever.
Yeah, and in this book, there's a list of rules. There's over 100 rules telling about how to use this book. And at one point, they're already they've killed 400 people, or 400 deaths have been credited to this god of death that they've created. And at one point, some people die that he didn't write in the book. And he's like, well, maybe there's a rule in there where I'm just like, you haven't read all the rules yet?
Yeah.
So once again, these characters are not only unlikable, but they're dumb.
They're super dumb.
And they make these terrible choices. And so in the end, I wanted them to die. I'm like, please let the Death Note rule them and they die. And just die. I do like Willem Dafoe. I like his performance in this. I like the design of the character. It was so cool. Yeah.
Eerie and really I don't know, the style of the character for Willem Dafoe's character was easily the best part for me of this movie. Just the visual style. It was so cool. The character of L, that was the most miscast. I could forgive the lead almost if he was going for a campy, but this guy, I cannot get past it. I like him as an actor as well, but this was not for him.
Yeah, it sucks. I like the cast of this movie.
Yeah.
Because the girl who plays the love interest, she was in The Nice Guys, and she was good in that.
Yeah.
And it's got Shea Wigham. He's like a smaller character actor. You've seen him in tons of stuff, and he's always good.
Yeah.
But it's just like outside of Willem Dafoe, like nobody really brings it.
Yeah.
Nobody really fits this movie. Buffs. All right, Nate, we talked about Death Note, said things we liked, said things we didn't like. Why don't you go ahead and put a number on it and give it a score?
Yeah, this movie, I didn't have any expectations for this movie. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, so it wasn't like I was pumped for it, but it started off so strong, and it just fell really flat and kind of got boring and old, and it was really hard to care about anybody in this movie. There's a movie out right now that I heard was really bad, which is called Wish Upon, right?
Yeah, it's like a monkey paw.
Yeah, like
ripoff.
I almost felt like that's what this movie like kept it in a neighborhood with one character, sort of in control of this. It just kept it a little more personal. This went a little too big for me.
Very broad.
Yeah, very broad, and I didn't like it all that much. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
I agree with you just for everything that you said. This movie started off good. It got you invested, and there are things to like about it. I can see this being a divisive movie, and if what the fans of the original manga and anime have said, if you've seen that and you don't want to give this movie a chance, then don't, because you're probably not going to like the new interpretation. But I'm right there with you. This movie deserves a 5 out of 10. It's not a horrible movie, but it had a lot of promise. It didn't pay off, and you didn't care about anybody.
There's better Netflix original movies to watch.
Yeah.
Buffs.
All right, that's our review for Death Note. Are you guys planning on watching it? What do you guys think of the source material? What do you think of Willem Dafoe? Just leave all your comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We always appreciate all the support.
And be sure to join us next week. It's finally here. We'll be reviewing the new version of Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for it. Of course, I had my reviews of Stephen King movies coming out. I just can't wait for this one. We hope we have no wits left because they all got scared out.
Yeah.
So be sure to join us next week when we review that. But until then, don't forget,
There's no place like the theater.